Very grey, but very dry weather. Yeah.
È il 12 di novembre del 2024, sono a Oxford, sto andando al Trinity College per incontrare Martin Kemp. Parleremo della battaglia di Anghiari, del mio progetto e di alcuni concetti generali circa l'arte, il rapporto tra l'arte contemporanea e la storia dell'arte.
One of my friends fed Leonardo's description of the battle into AI, into an AI system. First of all, it was rejected for being too violent.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Once you got round that, it produced something that looked like a 19th century battle picture. And it was extraordinary that the only way that the AI system could produce a painting was to imitate a 19th century military battle with all the smoke and all the people. One of these huge set piece 19th century battle scenes.
Yeah.
So it produced nothing like Leonardo at all. No, I think the evidence is pretty clear that he had actually begun painting on the wall. What he had in the contract was there's an intermediate contract, because it obviously wasn't going well. And the terms of the intermediate contract is either he had to finish the cartoon for the central bit and begin painting, or he had to do the cartoon for the whole wall. So he took the most ready option, that was to say, to start painting on the wall. Tavola Doria is that it was deliberately made when the painting was painted over. That it's deliberately an archival record, and I say that because it's recorded where the stone is, where the lower layers of plaster are. Then you've got the finer plaster which has been painted on, and it's a kind of replica of what you could see on the wall. So I think my view is, it's difficult to demonstrate it, but it has that look about it, that it's a very careful recording by someone like Denis da Volterra of the painting as it appeared on the wall. The person who painted it wanted it to be an accurate record for his own sake, or as I think it's possible, it was deliberately commissioned as an object of record to say this is what it looked like. Either way, it's got a status beyond the other copies. Well, his description of a battle together with the drawings has got to the point where it's impossible to do it. He sets himself an impossible task. Beastly madness, yeah.
Beastly, how do you say in English?
Beastly
madness. The sketches that are at the Academy of Venice collection, there are some horses that they beat themselves.
Yeah, they're in the central cartoon. The two horses are biting each other anyway. And there's a drawing at Windsor with a warrior's head which is shouting, a lion's head and a horse's head, all shouting, screaming. And it's a terrific drawing at Windsor. So he's saying there's a universal expression of rage which crosses from man through horses to lions. No, he does talk about how bestial men have facial features of very high relief. They have very pronounced facial features and lots of lines on their faces and so on. And these are the bestial men. It's very much a storyboard rather than an image. It's not a set image. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of subsidiary events. There's smoke in the air, there's dust in the air, there's noise. So it's not an instruction how to paint a battle, as you couldn't paint a battle as he was describing it.
Yeah, you saw my paintings, and what I wanted to relate between the contemporary and the past was the movement. The movement is by Leonardo is in his sketches, the small one.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and there are all the subsidiary drawings for the Battle of Anghiari of riders dashing away on horses. Somebody's got a broken flag, and these little, I call them penmen, these little tiny men who flit around in narratives.
Post-war period.
Yeah.
So I used the gesture action painting to give movement to what you said, the narration of how to paint a battle. Well, you know, what I did is really to go through the historical aspect, but what I really cared about was the composition, the concept of composition, which is a modern, in my work, it's nothing to be true. It's not true. I mean, it's something that I put according to a storyboard, as you said, because I actually followed the episode narrated by Marcello Virgilio Adriani. You know, they think that Leonardo also had this report, more than Machiavelli one. Mm-hmm. And so I actually used the drawing by Leonardo as a sort of filmmaking.
Yeah. Solve the problem is, how do you represent a battle? You have to have a limited number of figures on stage, and they have to fight, but it's not a, you know, in the Shakespeare battles, like the one which Henry V was taking part in, you represent it through a limited number of soldiers fighting at most. Sometimes you don't even show it at all, you just show spectators. So it's not until you get film that you can really create that number of people, and now of course they do it with computers. The person who did the animations for the V&A show, he does battle scenes, and they have 3 or 4 figures who they film, and then they reproduce them many times to create a great battle scene. So the creation of a huge dynamic battle scene is really an achievement of modern cinema.
I have the feeling when I did this that I was much more closer to my time than any other kind of battles, like Paolo Uccello or Battaglia di San Romano.
Yeah, well, both the Uccello and Piero are quite heraldic battles in a way. They're battles, but they're not reportage. They're heavily contrived compositions. The Uccello, for instance, I think there are 4 mazzocchi which are visible on the fighters. Now these are these big hatch rings, and Florence have built, when we're going to Milan, there's no way that, first of all, a soldier wouldn't go into battle with a big cloth and a big mazzocchi, or they'd have a helmet. But the question of invention, I'm an out-and-out historian. Cicero, the Introduction de Oratore, I think it is, where he says that invention is the first part of it, and it is finding something which is true or plausible.
The invention and possible task is something related.
Well, both Leonardo and Michelangelo realised that at the end of their lives, for different reasons. Michelangelo, because the spiritual world, as for Dante, was beyond our rational comprehension. And Leonardo's stumbling block is he ceases to believe that the eye is a reliable witness. So you've got a gap between what you would like to paint and what you can actually do. Both Michelangelo and Leonardo at the end of their careers run into that problem in a different way, but they're both profoundly disillusioned in a sense by what visual arts can do, is they set excessive demands for it. Michelangelo wants it to be the ultimate expression of spiritual vision. Leonardo wants it to be a record of the complexities of acts of seeing and moving. And both of them are setting up impossible agendas.
Open opera, which means it's something that you can really interpret in a different manner, and also move from a century to another one, like a sort of eternal.
meaning. And that for me was the Battle of Anghiari. And it is a paradox in a way, because it doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah.
So you can relate all his studies and it becomes something wider. You know, you start from one point, which is art history, and you go off art history.
Yeah.
You go out of it. What?
The surrogate.
A surrogate. Some talking about parodia. Do you know what? How do you say in English?
Well, parody, but
Parody.
parody in English has a connotation of being sort of licentious and humorous, which is not what you want.